This is the truth about what angels actually look like. I'm going to walk you through some angels described in the Bible and by early Christians, and each one is going to get cooler than the last, starting with dominion angels. In art, they're typically seen as holding a golden staff and a seal of God, because they're sort of like a form of royalty, ruling over the angels below them. Early Christians also believed the dominions oversaw the stars, the planets, and the universe. Some mystics also believe the dominions are the guardians of time, making sure that God's prophecies are going according to plan. Thomas Aquinas also thought the dominions were judges. But another angel are powers. In art, they're often shown as holding swords, bows, and shields, signifying that they're sort of like warriors, guarding the barrier between heaven and earth, making sure that fallen angels, demons like Satan and others, preventing them from going up to heaven. Some traditions also say that whenever evil spirits are removed from a person, whether in exorcisms or just through prayer, powers are the ones who actually go in there and battle the demons. They've also been said to be able to give humans powers of courage and wisdom, which may mean that they had a hand of Moses parting the Red Sea or David defeating Goliath. This parallels a scene described in Revelation where an army behind Christ rides into the final battle, which would most likely be mostly made up of powers. Another important angel are virtues. In art, they're typically shown as holding white lilies and red roses. The white lilies represent the perfection of God, and the red roses depict the blood of Christ, because these angels are tasked with overseeing nature on earth. Or in other words, they're responsible for the changing of seasons and large-scale weather events like hurricanes, tornadoes, or even just rain. So like in the New Testament where Jesus calms the storm, it's believed that a virtue had a hand in this, helping him oversee his will. They're also typically associated with faith, and so when people pray to have more faith, it's virtues who are linked to this. The next angel we're going to talk about are common angels, and these are by far the most common angels. This is what most people think of when they think of angels. And so to really hammer this point home, they are everywhere. Like for example, in the Old Testament, when Jacob has a dream of a ladder going up to heaven, he sees so many angels going up and down all around him. Padre Pio, a Catholic saint, also reported having many visions, and he said that there were so many angels and demons in the sky that they blacked out the sun. It's also thought that common angels are linked to guardian angels, because in the Bible, it talks about all of us having an angel that guards and protects us, or principalities. These are the angels who are seen as rulers over different parts of the earth. In art, they're typically shown as having a crown and a scepter. In the book of Daniel, or describes the prince of Persia and the prince of Greece. Basically, angels who oversee a good nation and angels that oversee a bad nation. And so, this is why many have believed that principality angels are the angels that oversee rulers of nations and just nations and regions as a whole. Donald Trump, yes, may have a principality angel influencing him. And so, just be warned, the Bible warns of entire nations falling or collapsing because of their obedience to God, which may be linked to a principality angel. Maybe a principality angel is responsible for Doge, which I have mixed feelings about, but we're not going to talk about politics because my political opinion is whatever your political opinion is. The next angel are Seraphim angels. Now we got angels on the top tier of angels, which are the angels closest to God. This is why the Seraphim angel looks like this. It is so incredibly scary. The word seraph is also used to describe other creatures, but they're typically serpents. And so, Seraphim, it's also thought that seraphim are dragons, which would be insane. Additionally, some Christians have believed that seraphims are linked to the forgiveness of sins. This is because during Isaiah's vision, he said to God that he had an unclean mouth, but a seraph took a burning coal, gave it to him, and cleansed his sins and forgave him. These angels are always singing praises to God. The Bible talks about them always saying, "Holy, holy, holy." And some traditions say that their voices create such a strong musical harmony. It's described as the music of the spheres. Basically, just heavenly music. Music that is so powerful that it is literally a glimpse of heaven. The next angel we're going to talk about are cherubim angels. Cherubim are probably the most well-described angels in the Bible, but they're also the least well-known to people. Cherubims actually look like this. Some Jewish mystics have connected cherubim to whispering secrets to the prophets. But like, what do? Cherubim are just tasks of moving the wheels, of moving the throne of God. Or like when Adam and Eve are kicked out of the garden, a cherubim is tasked with guarding the garden from them. And when King Solomon builds his temple, he builds several figures and statues of cherubim to honor and worship God. And with the Ark of the New Covenants, which in the Old Testament was basically just a place where God would literally come and speak to the Jews, cherubim were placed over the Ark. The next angel we're going to talk about are thrones. These are personally the coolest looking angels. It's possible these things are as big as a sky or a mountain or even larger. This is why whenever they move, it was like the sound of thunder and lightning. Another like fun theory is that thrones are like UFO sightings, which I don't know, man. I think angels are pretty cool, but I don't know if I believe that one, boss. The next angel is the angel of the Lord, mentioned over 53 times in the Bible, which dwarfs all references of other angels combined. This is why for centuries, Jews and Christians alike have speculated, what the heck is the angel of the Lord? The angel of the Lord appears to Moses in the burning bush. Another thing is that when Abraham is about to sacrifice Isaac, basically God tells Abraham to sacrifice his most beloved son just as a testament to his faith in God. So right before Abraham is about to slay his son, an angel of the Lord appears and tells him to stop. Also, I've already mentioned that story of the angel striking down over 185,000 soldiers in one night. The Bible describes that angel as an angel of the Lord. All these mentions are from the Old Testament, and it is never mentioned in the New Testament. This is why many Christians have believed that this was actually Jesus Christ, an appearance of Jesus Christ before he actually manifests himself as a human in the New Testament. And regardless of the answer, this is really cool. And that's the mission of this channel, to spread cool things about Christianity. And so if you resonate with this mission, subscribe. I'm Evan Raugust, and I promise you, I'm going to give you some of the best Christian video essays on the internet. And lastly, we have archangels. Despite archangels being in the second tier of angels, they have some of the most important roles in the Bible. And it's believed by some Christians that there are actually 7 of them. This is because in Revelation, it talks about 7 angels being around the throne of God, which many have interpreted to be archangels. And so for sure, we know that the archangel Michael is one, but it's also speculated that Gabriel is one, who is the angel who announces the birth of Jesus Christ to Mary, and also Uriel and Raphael are also commonly described as archangels. And so we'll get into each of them, starting with Uriel and Raphael. So while Uriel isn't explicitly described in the Bible, he's often depicted as holding a scroll of lights. This is because he's typically linked to wisdom, prophecy, and enlightenments. He's written about in many apocryphal sources. These were books that could have been in the Bible, but weren't because early Christians believed that they were not divine because they were either written by weird sources or they contained weird beliefs. So, like for example, the book of Enoch refers to Uriel as the heavenly overseer of Tartarus, which some have interpreted as hell. Next, Raphael the archangel. This is because according to Catholicism, they have some books that reference Raphael the archangel. Like, for example, in the book of Tobit, Raphael is the angel typically associated with healing. He actually heals Tobit of all of his health problems. He also drives out a demon who has been killing every man that Tobit's sister has been married to. Next, Gabriel, which some Christian traditions say is an archangel. But regardless, Gabriel is tasked with announcing the birth of Jesus to Mary. He also tells the shepherds that the Messiah is coming. And centuries before the New Testament, Gabriel actually appears to Daniel, where he prophesies the destruction of 4 great empires, and eventually foresees the rise of a 5th and final kingdom, which many have believed is the kingdom of God. And last but certainly not least, we have the Archangel Michael, who is by far, I think, the coolest angel mentioned in the Bible. He's typically shown as holding a sword, and he's a warrior. For example, he's mentioned in Daniel when he's tasked with warding off the Prince of Persia, which I've already mentioned is a bad principality angel. And so, as far as why Michael is so important to Christians, it's because we believe that in the end times, in the book of Revelation, it describes in Revelation a great battle where the Archangel Michael eventually defeats Satan, who in this depiction takes the form of a dragon, and the devil loses. And so, by the way, if you'd like to hear more cool things about Christianity, click on this video. I promise you it's going to be a great one. And alright, see ya. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Alright.